Yesterday I finished putting the putty at the shear line on that seam the whole way on both sides, front to back. It was a miserable job, having to crawl in and out of hatches and work in very tight spaces. The job is not very neat, especially at the ends of the boat. I managed to slop a little bit of that stuff around, and I'm not really happy with that, but we'll have to see if I can do anything about it later. It's very hard to reach. Today I have fit the bulkheads in. The rear bulkhead took some fussing to get it in, and there's some gaps that I'm going to have to account for as I epoxy it in place. The front hatch went in very easily, but the directions say place the bow hatch, or the bow bulkhead, not hatch, the bulkhead, just forward of the foot peg braces, and they give a suggested measurement, and it's good for people from 5'6" to 6 foot. Well, I'm 5'8", my wife is 5'2", we have grandchildren. I wanted it shorter, so the directions say sit in the boat, see if you can make it work. Instead of setting it at 39, I set it at 35. That seems to be okay, but then you cannot bring the bulkhead back to the front or to the back or front edge of the rails on which the foot pegs attach. It's really substantially in front of that. 5 or 6 inches in front of that is where it fits. Otherwise, it's very loose. There's gaps all the way around it. So in this boat anyway, there's going to be some space in front of the end of the foot peg rails. But as in my other kayak, you can use that space with a dry bag. You can put a dry bag in there with some things in it, push it in front of the pegs, and it pretty much stays in place. I'll give you a look at what I've done. I've also fitted the pieces into the cockpit covers that are going to hold the cockpit covers up. I've put the spacers in. Now the rim is just sitting in there. I fitted it, and as I finish working on the bulkheads, I'll go and I'll put those in, and then I'll have to tape all of those things in with fiberglass tape. Here's what things look like now. Well, here's the forward bulkhead from the cockpit, and you can see it fits pretty tight, and it is several inches in front of the foot pegs. These are set for me. I've been in the boat, and it's that's just really good for me right where they are now. So that means that somebody who's taller and somebody who's shorter ought to be able to maneuver okay in there. This is the same thing from the front. It'll be easy to reach from this side, but not the other side. And the directions say to fill and tape on this side, and don't worry about the other side because you can't reach it. This is the stern bulkhead. It was harder to fit. And it's tight, pretty tight all the way around. There's some areas up in here that are not tight that I've had to put a little bit of mylar behind so that I can fill up against it and make it tight. But this one I can get at from both sides. Here's this is the cockpit side here, and this is the hatch side. And you can see here that I have put the hatch lips in place here just to fit them, and then I will be glassing them in place as I finish the bulkheads. So what I'm thinking is that I'm going to go ahead and tape, glass tape the bulkheads in the way I suggested, the front edge of the back bulkhead and the front edge of the front bulkhead, and I will use some smaller pieces of tape, not all the way around, to anchor the back side of the back bulkhead. And then I'll probably use silicone caulk to be absolutely sure that I'm not going to get a leak there anywhere. But that's the best I think I can do at the moment. I just have been working at it, and it's just not going for me. So that's the point I'm at this point.